let the sheNEDigans begin. Long live the sheNEDigans. Hello and welcome to the topic of this video. As always, let's talk sheNEDigans. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. The Lord of the Rings Trilogy is considered to be one of the best, if not the best, movie trilogy and book-to-movie adaptation. Winning countless awards and praise, other than from the Tolkien estate itself, so many people absolutely love and adore the Lord of the Rings movies. So honestly, there wasn't really a lot of surprise when there was so much hype around Peter Jackson's return to Middle-earth with The Hobbit. The Hobbit movies were eventually released to theaters, only for Tolkien fans to respond in this manner. Yeah, there was definitely not a lot of praise this time around, as the movies just seemed to get a lot of things wrong. However, does the Hobbit Trilogy really deserve the hate that it gets? Well, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to go ahead and bring a top 10 best things about the Hobbit movies.
Excuse me. There is practically nothing redeemable about these poor excuses for movies.
Ah! Who are you?
I'm Jackie from Me, My Skirt, and I, fantasy enthusiast and despiser of the Hobbit Trilogy. Jackson took a simple tale about going there and back again and ruined it.
Well, to be completely honest, I wasn't expecting to be doing a collab with an animated woman, but, well, this is 2020. Who knows what's going to come around the corner nowadays? But I guess this really is a good opportunity for the two of us to, well, dive a little bit deeper into these movies, and yes, split it a little bit more evenly and try to find the flaws, but also celebrate the good things about this trilogy. So, here is the top 10 best
and worst
things about the Hobbit movies, starting from worst to best.
The elf-dwarf racism. Tolkien made it very clear that elves and dwarves did not like each other. Jackson decided to crank this up to 11.
Well, it's one louder, isn't it?
And just defy all logic and reason. When Book Thorin enters Rivendell, he found the elves annoying, not threatening.
Does he offer us insult? No, Master Gloin, he's offering you food.
In the book, the Mirkwood elves do somewhat unreasonably lock Thorin and company up, but they don't mistake dwarves for goblins.
What is this horrid creature? A goblin mutant.
That's my wee lad, Gimli.
They aren't stupid. And the king was quick to offer aid to Laketown. He did it out of his own self-interest, but it was logical self-interest. In the film, the elves and dwarves act so despicably towards each other, I cannot root for them. I can root for flawed heroes, but I cannot root for stupid ones.
Bards Role. So as much as I absolutely love Luke Evans, and believe he can do no wrong, I do have several problems with Bard in these movies. I think Luke Evans plays him perfectly fine, but what they did to the character to me is rather insulting, especially because he's so badass in the book. Hell, he's more badass in the flipping cartoon than this!
Black Arrow, you've never failed me, and I've always recovered you. I had you from my father, and he from of old. Ever you came from the forges of the true king under the mountain. Go now, and speed well!
You have done goofed up when the anime movie did something better than these movies. Which, to be fair, the anime movie's arguably 80% better than this entire trilogy put together. Making Bard into a bitter family man who the city of Laketown doesn't trust because his father didn't kill Smog is honestly kind of insulting to the original character. He was captain of the freaking archers, for goodness sake, not a bloody fisherman!
The rambling, rampaging Radagas, The Hobbit is one of my 3 favorite fantasy books because it was not overly complicated. Complexity can be good. The Fellowship gathering at Rivendell is an excellent example of 9 simple stories overlapping for maximum epicness. Overly complicated stories have random Rampagingratagas appearing only to make the story more confusing and not move the plot forward in any meaningful way. Same can be said about the Master's assistant. Due to Jackson's subtlety allergy, the Master didn't need help looking like a greedy jerk. So the only thing the assistant adds is appearing in a dress.
Your slip is showing.
Hilarious.
Heavy use of CGI over practical effects. Alright, you know the argument that most Star Wars fans use over the prequels and the original trilogy when it comes to CGI and practical effects and whatnot? Well, I would make the argument that that whole statement actually makes far more sense with The Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies. Even though there were some pretty fantastical scenes in the Lord of the Rings movie,
That still only counts as one!
there is nothing as ridiculous as practically any fight scene in the Hobbit movies. The fight scenes were cartoonish, video gamey, and then on top of that, just take a look at the orcs and the goblins. What's more terrifying, this guy or this guy? I think we both know what the actual answer is. I, for one, have absolutely nothing against the use of CGI. Heck, even heavy use of CGI. But the problem here is that with a trilogy that was so groundbreaking when it came to its presentation, its epicness, its honestly incredibly serious tone, to move over to the Hobbit movies where all of a sudden everything is just, well, as I mentioned, very video gamey, to the point where even the characters also appear as something that would honestly appear in video games and not look like horrendous, scary monsters. It's very hard to go ahead and take the Hobbit movies seriously.
Toriel. As a strong, independent woman, Toriel offends me. A superpowered she-elf who gets caught in a love triangle.
But I'm not on my own.
You knew I would come.
This is not empowering. A warrior woman with a heart full of love. Eowyn ended her story there, but she didn't start out that way. Toriel has no arc. Her only flaw is that she falls for a guy with terrible pickup lines.
I could have anything down my trousers.
Her magnificent hair, lethal efficiency, and ability to attract all the boys.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard.
I hate it. It's not the actress's fault. She just wasn't given much to work with.
Why does it hurt so much?
I don't know. Who are you again?
The White Council versus the Ring Wraiths.
Are you in need of assistance, my lady?
Okay, this is more so a guilty pleasure positive more than anything, but I just love this fight sequence. The build-up is meh, and the outcome is confusing and meh. Seriously, what the hell was up with that weird, sort of, kind of romance thing between Galadriel and Gandalf?
Quickly!
Come with me, my lady.
It makes no sense. Okay, fanfiction writers, let's go ahead and get this thing going. But what I love about the scene is seeing Christopher Lee's Sauron just going nuts on the Ring Wraiths. Christopher Lee is one of my favorite actors of all time, and one of my favorite roles of his is the role of Saruman. He did such an excellent job playing him, so being able to see him in this epic fight sequence honestly brings me so much joy because I love the character of Saruman so much. Yes, I know it's his stunt double, but I don't care. I still think this sequence is freaking awesome and I love every second of it. As soon as Elrond and Saruman walked in, I was jumping in my seat with joy, because I could see my favorite evil wizard just knock off these guys. Plus, I'm sorry, but I just love this stupid one-liner from Elrond.
You should have stayed dead.
I'm so sorry, I just love it!
The songs. Despite my love of the books, when I read for myself, I often skip the songs, but the movie brings these songs to life.
Blunt the knives, bend the forks, smash the bottles and burn the corks.
Tolkien's songwriting is one of his more underrated attributes. Jackson did these songs justice. I can feel the pines tremble in the dwarvish bass.
The pines were roaring all night.
Not only did Jackson adapt the songs well, but shocker, added good original content. Ed Sheeran's I See Fire is my jam. The musicality, the lyrics.
And I hope that you remember me.
Just capture the Lonely Mountain's desolation so perfectly, I can't help but like it.
The friendship between Thorin and Bilbo.
A token of our friendship.
Arguably, one of the best things in this entire trilogy is the friendship between Thorin and Bilbo. The filmmakers were really able to nail basically what Thorin's first impressions of Bilbo was, and as the story does continue, we see their friendship blossom into something, by the end of the movie, is something incredibly beautiful.
I've never been so wrong in all my life.
But seriously, Thorin's death scene makes me cry every single time!
Farewell, Master Burglar. If more people valued all above gold, this world would be a merry place.
Bilbo.
Bilbo Baggins, the bravest little hobbit of them all.
Our good, gentle hobbit. Actor Martin Freeman does an excellent job of conveying the quintessentially British homebody who got dragged out into an adventure against his better judgment.
Now, I don't imagine anyone west of Bree would have much interest in adventures.
His scrappy sense of bravery is precisely the sort of hero Bilbo is. He can think on his feet.
You said ask me a question. Well, that is my question. What have I got in my pocket?
He shows great mercy and helps his friends out in a pinch. Most important of all, we see his love of homely comforts keep him from falling to the dragon's spell.
I came to give you this.
Bilbo is just the sort to keep his wits about him when everyone else is losing theirs. The movies show this beautifully.
Smaug.
You seem familiar with my name, but I don't remember smelling your kind before.
Okay, for a lot of you, you had to know that this was my number one thing about the Hobbit movies. Smog is absolutely freaking amazing in this entire trilogy.
Do you think flattery will keep you alive?
They got the character so right. It is ridiculous how they got him so darn good. Benedict Cumberbatch was really able to nail the ferocity, the cunning nature of Smog, and, well, practically, literally everything. Heck, he was literally Smog. He was crawling on the ground, filled with a bloody bunch of dots in a green suit, just crawling all around, and he's literally Smog. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually turned him into a freaking dragon. You remember those memes that were going all around about, joking about Benedict Cumberbatch literally becoming a freaking dragon? Yeah, that probably actually happened.
So tell me, thief, how do you choose to die?
Now, there's one thing that I almost absolutely return to these movies for. It is definitely for what Jackie mentioned, Martin Freeman as Bilbo Baggins, and definitely 100% Benedict Cumberbatch as Smaug.
I am fire.
as we stated at the beginning, the Hobbit movies are nowhere near as good as the Lord of the Rings trilogy. But to completely dismiss them, I think would be a disservice to, well, all of the good things that Peter Jackson was able to go ahead and bring to life in the Hobbit movies. We'd missed out on so many of the incredible things that he did bring forth. Are they good? Well, it really depends on how you look at it. To be completely honest, to me they're very but I still love them. Even as bad as they are. There are some legitimately good things that the Hobbit movies did bring to the table, especially in the concept of bringing some of Tolkien's amazing characters to life, and honestly, you can go ahead and laugh at some of the really dumb things when it comes to these movies as well. Thank you for joining me, Jackie. This was honestly a lot of fun, and I'm just glad that the two of us were able to go ahead and go through these movies and find some of the flaws and enjoyable aspects about the Hobbit trilogy.
Thanks, Ned. If you liked this vid, check out the Hobbit video Ned and I did on my channel. We have a great time talking about fantasy, philosophy, and how to slay dragons.
Like she said, guys, go ahead and check out the other collab video that we did on our channel talking about dragons. It's a really good video, in my opinion. And definitely make sure to go ahead and check out all of her other videos as well. She does a really great presentation when it comes to a lot of her videos and stuff. I really highly recommend her channel. Anyways, thank you so much for joining in. This has been Let's Talk sheNEDigans. We'll see you guys later, and God bless.